day Russia, the Soviet Union? And that's all I hear today.
Yeah, well, that's crazy, and it's utter nonsense. I think what you can say about someone like Putin, for instance, everyone wants to point out his KGB experience. But a lot of people don't realize that the people in the KGB were among the best educated and, frankly, the most widely read and widely traveled people in the Soviet Union. They actually understood the West. Perhaps Putin understands the West better than almost anyone else in the country today because he spends so much time in it. No, I think Putin is a good example of someone in Russia who has one foot in Czarist Russia and another foot in the old Soviet Union. And that's essentially what you're looking at today, people that are a hybrid of those two experiences. And of the two, I would argue, the Tsarist experience is ultimately more important. And that's why you see the restoration of Orthodox Christianity as the state religion, because it's inextricably intertwined with Russian nationalism, just as Roman Catholicism is inextricably intertwined with Polish nationalism. So no, you're not dealing with the Soviet Union at all. And remember, they've also shed most of the non-Russians. They have some non-Russians in their country, but a very small number compared with what they had in the Soviet Union. So today's Russia is as close to a true Russian state as we've seen in a long time. And I think there are a lot of misunderstandings about Ukraine and the nature of the problem in Ukraine, what Russia's real concerns are. And then, of course, we've got to understand something else. These borders in that part of the world have changed repeatedly over hundreds of years. And so when you say Ukraine, it depends on which century and at which particular point in time Ukraine is Ukraine. And then not all Ukrainians are the same. Ukraine is actually surprisingly multinational in many respects, more so even than Russia. So again, we keep imposing our views of the world, our perceptions on others, and then demanding that they match whatever standard we set for others. Of course, all of this against the backdrop of what's happening in our country right now, which is the destruction of the rule of law, real questions about election integrity, questions about just who these people are who are currently governing us, because they certainly don't look like Democrats. I grew up with large numbers of Democrats, and they were as patriotic and devoted to the country as any Republican I've ever met. That certainly doesn't seem to be the case with this group. So we've got so many problems ourselves. We're in no position at this stage, I think, to preach to others regarding what they ought to be.